So I'm so happy to have you here today. You're always on social media, always posting about your job, and how amazing you do in your real estate career. But we want to learn about you. And I know you're from Belarus. And when did you move to Orlando?
So I moved to Orlando, I believe, 4 or 5 years ago. But in the States, I'm from 2016, so we'll be 10 years next year.
And how did you get into real estate?
Well, it's a little bit long story how I got connected to the real estate. So basically, I started to learn about real estate investing, starting with Robert Kiyosaki, his famous book, Poor Dad, Rich Dad. And out of that, I've been reading, learning, and about investing, necessarily like
That's okay.
will it
You,
be
you
cut?
will, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was reading, learning about investing, and then I was like, well, I have to start somewhere. So I got my license and I started to work with people and help them to create wealth and to find amazing places to live or to sell their houses.
I love this because I feel like so many Asians they don't understand the concept of real estate, and I'm a believer that this is what real estate is about. Like creating the wealth and generational wealth for your kids. And like again, you have to start somewhere, and I think people they don't realize how that it's not that hard for you to buy your first home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all about the mindset. Like living in Belarus, what people usually go through, they live in the same house for their whole life. And just getting this concept, how the things are in America, that you can move every few years to a different house to upgrade and things like that, this is very different.
I know I felt the same too because when I bought my first home, it was like the home that we could, of course, it was our first home. So the home that we could afford at the time. And for us, it was our dream home. And then after about like 2 years, we're like, oh, maybe we can upgrade. And then that's what we did. So we rented our first home and then we got into our second home. And then we ended up moving 3 times in 6 years, and always renting the previous one and then creating that investment portfolio to make sure that eventually that will become our retirement account,
Yeah.
right? um, Other question I have for you, I know you just had a baby, and how is this workflow, how is your work life coming along?
Well, it's definitely changed because, before I was always available, I was on the field. Now, knowing that my baby is my priority and because I'm necessity for him right now, I try to spend as much time as I can with him. Yes, I have a babysitter on standby if I have a meeting. Yes, I do my real estate stuff after he goes to sleep. Thankfully, he goes to sleep at 8, so I have enough time before I go to sleep to do that. But yeah, he's my priority. There's no doubt right now.
But you can still do the real estate, right?
Yes, of course.
Because I feel like a lot of people, they have the mindset because we are mothers, and sometimes they'll judge us because we're doing something else on the side besides being a mom. Because whoever is a mom, being a mom is always going to be your first job. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's like we have two full-time jobs. Like in my case, I feel like I have two full-time jobs. One, being a mom is definitely my priority, but at the same time, I think that we as a mom, we should know that we can also become whoever we want to become.
Yes, and a lot of people ask me, hey, do you still do real estate? Have you ever stopped? I actually never stopped. I was even taking calls in the delivery room, like, hey, yes, this happened. And I do have assistant full time who's taking care of the calls when I can't. Like if the client is calling me, I know he's being taken care. If I'm not there, I know I'm gonna give them a call back when I'm available. But I know there's someone right now who can take care of them.
Yeah, so I love this. You create your systems to make sure that you were able to do both, you know? Um, the other question I have for you is, you know, I I am so excited because I have always watched you and watched you growth, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I think this girl has so much potential, and you got some good production and you got like, your first big listing. How was that? How did you get into that? Let's say your first big listing, how was it?
It's really, I don't take listing as big or small. They're all listing. They're all people who they want to sell, they want to move to the next level, or they want to solve the problem. So I don't take it big or small.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what's the price point, they're all big and important for me. With the production that you have, I've before I joined the brokerage, I looked at the listings that were sold and by you, and with all your family life, how do you do that? You can literally physically, how can you physically sell that many houses?
I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, how did all that? But I think that again, I create systems around. Like I have a very amazing support system, especially with my kids. My husband is an amazing dad, and my I'm so lucky that my family lives here. So my mom helps me out so much, and again, I'm just when I'm on the go, I'm just very focused on I have no time to waste. So I'm like from 9 to 5 or 6 o'clock, I'm gonna do everything I can in that time frame so I can come home, come to my kids, and I'm all about having the quality time with them. I don't think that necessarily the quantity time is enough, like you have to be present for them. And I try to be a great mom and I try to be present for the kids. Real estate does allow us to, if I have to pick up the kids at school, if I have to drop them off, because we can somehow create our own schedule. Um, when you see it's just happening, and then you look back and you're like, wow, we got all this done. Yeah, so sometimes I don't even know that answer, but I just feel like I have a really good support system in place. And yeah.
This is one of the reasons why I joined the brokerage, because I see you being a mom, I see you being successful. So I really came to learn from you. You inspire me.
But I love this because I feel that, again, we need to know that we are capable. And sometimes, you have, when I had my first daughter, it was very hard for me because I felt like at the beginning, I kind of lost myself into being a mom only. And it wasn't for me. So I went to this big hole that I wouldn't recognize myself anymore. And I'm like, no, I have to be myself. I have to be who I am, and I can do both. I can be a mom and I can be myself. We are going to change immediately when we have a kid because, as you
Yeah, it's
said,
something with the brain. It
so,
just turned off.
yes, for
For
sure.
anything else,
Yes.
for some time.
And they are going to be your first priority no matter what. Always. And people sometimes they'll judge us like, oh, she's a mom and she works so much and this and that. They don't know my life.
But people will judge you about anything.
Yeah, they'll judge you about anything. But I think we work moms, we are judged a lot. But I think they'll judge, if you're a stay home mom. They'll judge whatever. Just make sure that you focus on your thing and you don't listen to what people are saying or, just continue to move forward. And that's it. And I'm a believer, that, again, in the brokerage, if you're a mom, bring the kids. Oh, you brought the baby before?
Yeah.
Like it's part of the team. Everybody's a big family and it's part of the team. And again, if like, hey, I need a babysitter because of a client, I don't know, we can create our own support systems. Like most of our employees, they're women, and I tell them, I don't want you to miss your kids' school events because you have a job. you know I want to make sure that you're going to be there for your kids. I have no problem, just let us know, take the day off, go to your kids event, because at the end of the day, they are our priority, and this is what we do this for. Like I want my daughter to be proud of me, and I want our kids to be proud of us being a mom. So tell me how you connect with your culture here in Orlando. Do you see like a huge difference from when you moved to here? And is there things that you do to maintain your culture alive at your home with your kids?
So how do I connect to my culture? Well, my culture is in my family. So what we create with our kids, the connections, the traditions, the way we handle things in the home, this is our culture. So necessarily Belarusian culture is really hard to find here in Orlando. The only things like you can go to the Russian store and there are some products from Belarus that I can find and like get excited about. But other than that, no. But my mom visited me last month. She stayed here for a month, and that was her first time in America. So it was amazing to have your mom next to
I
you.
know,
And
right?
I was like, oh, I'm going to be able to have more freedom, like to do things. But I did not want to leave her for a moment.
Yes,
Like I
I
wanted to spend
understand.
all time I can with my mom because that's that's my home.
Yes, but but now that she came the first time, she's probably gonna come more often.
Hopefully,
You
yes.
just need the first time.
I know to
Yeah.
break the wall.
Yes, to break the rule. Yes, for me, because I'm Brazilian, so I try. My house is crazy because I am Brazilian, married to an American Jew. So I speak Portuguese with my kids. I'm like, you're gonna speak Portuguese. I don't care. So I'm only talking Portuguese to them, and they're both fluent in Portuguese. Do you try to keep the language there
Yeah, I
too?
do speak to my kid in Russian. Of course, he doesn't speak yet,
Yeah, yeah.
of course.
But
But my
you know,
husband is Egyptian, so he speak Arabic,
uh-huh.
and we have also multiple languages in the family. And but it's America. It's all about the cultures, and there's no like one culture in America. It's a mixture of cultures. That's what it does. Even like on our street in our community, there are 20 different countries, just like
Wow.
so we're hungry homes. So
Yeah, this
it's
is what I
crazy.
love about Orlando, especially Orlando. It's
Yeah.
such a multicultural city. You almost never meet somebody from Orlando.
Yeah, and you don't feel like left out or missed
Exactly.
out because everyone is bringing something else from somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay, now let's get back to real estate. Tell me about your craziest transaction, the one that was like, oh, I'm gonna quit this.
Well, I feel like every transaction is a little bit crazy. I think I only had like two that went smooth, and I was like, oh, something wrong?
Yeah, I
Is
know.
it actually closing? Because like there's always something, as you know, there's always a surprise, there's always an emotion. People change their minds all the time, and there are things that you can't control. But the best thing that you can do is to guard the seller or the buyer from all the stress that's going behind the scenes, and just handle it, and then give them the result or the options to do. You know.
Yes, I agree. Because some clients, they have no idea what goes on behind the scenes.
Thank God.
Yeah. So for them, it is so smooth and a great transaction. And in the back, we're like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do with this? Yeah, we always try to figure it out. Okay, so I know that you work with a lot of expiring listings. The sellers try to sell their homes and they couldn't get it. So you come in and you're very successful at that. Why do you feel that they failed on the first time?
Well, there are multiple reasons why home is not selling. It's the exposure, it's motivation that rejects in the price, and accessibility, marketing. There's more to add to it, but really, a lot of times I see the listings that are expired, there's missing something. There's missing great photography or a video or marketing, or I see the price is very high. So basically, my job is to come to the seller and tell, hey, this is the price, what is fair to your house at the moment with this market, it aligns. So that's the price that you probably gonna sell, and I'm gonna do the best marketing. So I do best video, we make sure we stage the listing, or we do the best out of what's there, like just to easy clean up, declutter. It makes a big
It
difference.
makes a big difference because I saw your old listing and I was like, it doesn't even look like the same house.
It does change a lot.
Yes. Uh-huh.
With you being so active in the market, I want to learn from you what trends are you seeing right now, and where you feel like the market is going.
So even me being so active on the market and been doing this for so long, sometimes, I also make mistakes. And like you mentioned, like I think the number one thing is sellers, they need to come to their mind that the they have to price their home right. And the homes are taking longer to sell, and we're definitely on the buyer's market. I think that we're still going to be in this market for a while into, the interest rate go lower, at least a little bit lower, so buyers can get more motivated to buy. So I think we're still going to have a ride of buyer's market. But just to give an example, I took a listing that was too much, that was overpriced, and I haven't sold that listing. And I'm overstressed because it's still sitting in the market for a long time. And yesterday I was reflecting, I'm like, you know what? I'm never going to do that again because you're not doing any service for you and for your client to overlease, to overprice that property. When you get an overpriced listing, the home is going to sit on the market. The sellers are
Gonna
always
blame
going
you.
to blame the agent. And then they're going to cancel your listing with you, list with someone else at the price that you recommended. They're going to sell it and they're going to say, Fernanda couldn't sell my listing. So I think this is the biggest lesson to learn is that you just have to price your home right so you can sell it, because pricing together with all the marketing exposure and everything, it's a win-win for everybody,
Yeah.
especially for clients. Yeah.
You know, oh, sorry. There's one phrase from Tom Ferry, the coach, real estate coach in my head, that is, if the home is not selling, the price is not compelling. So no matter how much marketing you're going to put in and you're going to be out there with a sign every weekend or every even day, it's not going to sell if the buyer says, okay, it's not a good deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the
For sure.
sellers are emotional, the buyers are emotional, yes, but they more about the numbers because they don't know the house, they're not connected to the house. It's all about the number, how much they're going to pay monthly, can they afford it, or
Yeah.
does it make sense?
And one thing that I see a lot that I have experienced is buyer's remorse. So even if they love the home, but if the home is overpriced, they'll get in the contract. 2 weeks later, they're like, I'm so sorry, we're not moving forward, because they just feel like they're overpaying for something in
Yeah.
today's market. So yeah, I've seen that happening a lot.
And
So
would you? No.
no, yeah, you have to put yourself on someone else's shoes
Yeah.
always. Thank you so much for being here today. I love having you here with us, and I love having you in our brokerage. I'm all about, the mom, and we can do this. And,
Yes, we
we
can.
can do this, yes. And if you're looking to sell, especially if your listing is about to expire, call this girl up. She's amazing. She's going to sell your home for you. Yeah.
And you can find me on Instagram. It's Vola Moves Orlando. Or you can give me a call at 727 408 2424.